All right, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and start. I don't have anyone on, but we'll go ahead and start so that way, if you want to catch up, you can be able to watch a video. You can be able to watch a video from YouTube after it's recorded. So I'll go ahead and edit the timeline on here so that way people that were standing by will decline that, decrease that. But what I want to be able to show you guys right now is how this whole product that we are selling, as far as the Microsoft solutions that we can provide here in the area of El Paso, it's there's three pillars. And so when you're looking at the end user, so let's take for instance a veterinarian clinic. So they're the end user, the organization as a whole. So you have multiple vet, personnel. You have the vets, whether it's a single or multiple veterinarians that work in one office, and then you have your employee intake. As far as the customer service, the kind of like the nurse of the veterinarian, I guess, the vet assistant, and so when you're looking at the organizational structure, you look at every end user as one user. So we create an account for that one user, and so the way that we are structuring this whole enterprise and application is so we're going to be able to provide whether they want to use it or not. We'll have two packages on the price points where we can provide. But as the three pillars that you see here, we have the Surface Pro product, we have the Office 365 Enterprise, and also the Azure Cloud. And so these are the three pillars that you guys are going to be working on. To understanding, you got to have to understand all three and how that intertwines to the ability for you. And I'll move the camera over here just a little bit. So the ability for you to be able to sell these products in order to know all three of them and how to manage them and leverage them to the potential customer as you go out. One thing that we are going to be able to provide is a 15-day, five business days, 15 business days of free trial of our product to see if they like it. And we give them a Surface tablet. We set everything up within their environment, also including a point of sales, so that way they can charge customers, do their calendar, do their booking, track, employees of, pay, schedule, everything we can do all in Office 365 and the Microsoft bundle package. And so it's just a matter of us being able to get it in numbers and grow the numbers here in this area. And then at the top of all the pillars, we have the IT support. So as my company, I have remote help desk people to be able to provide, to get into their devices to help them troubleshoot issues, whatever the case may be. As long as they have internet connectivity, we are able to provide them the support. And then at the top, of course, is Aggregate IT Solutions, as we are the encompassing platform across the Microsoft infrastructure. And so wanted to go ahead and kind of explain everything from there. And then we're going to go into a video real quick to explain going back into the Surface Pro. So this is the Meet the Surface Pro LTE. It's a 7-minute video. And I'll go ahead and try to turn this up so that way you guys can hear it. And I'll go ahead and hide myself and mute myself, and we'll start the video. And I'll be back.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this Surface Academy course on the beautiful new Surface Pro with LTE, finally. My name is Jared, glad to have you all here. If you're wanting to know a bit more about the new Surface Pro, we do have a Meet the New Surface Pro course, but today we're focusing specifically on what sets our new LTE model of the Surface Pro apart, what makes our most versatile laptop even more versatile. So jumping right into it, I want to make sure that you're armed with a little bit of context around LTE. We have noted a tremendous amount of customer feedback demanding a Surface Pro that has LTE, dating all the way back to the original Surface Pro. Every version since, and we've had 4 versions prior to this one, customers have been demanding a Pro model with LTE. We want to make sure, though, that if we're going to roll it out, it's just right. And unfortunately, in the previous generations, We didn't make it quite work. We want to make sure that they have the best battery life possible, that they have the aesthetics they appreciate in a very thin design with the Surface, and that they have all of the ports and everything that they want. And in order to do that, we had to have the device meet those needs. Now, the new Pro can, and with gusto. Let me tell you, we have the latest Intel i5 processors inside of the Pro with LTE. That means that they don't have any fan. The new Pro processor is fanless completely all the way through. So that gave us room for that LTE antenna. It gave us room for 7 different invisible wireless antennas to put inside of the device without adversely harming our battery life and making it a very premium option for them. Couple of specifics here. Of course, it's going to be 4G LTE speed, but the big part is anywhere on the planet. We want to make sure that any SIM card, wherever you are, if there is cellular service and they have data, that this device can use it at speeds from all the way to from 600 megahertz up to a proper 4G LTE speed. All of this is built in, very nice. It also has those 7 invisible antennas I was mentioning before, and you don't see any of it. Notice indistinguishable materials. That's purposefully worded. The Surface Pro looks exactly like the regular Surface Pro. There is a grayish, darker part on the top. It matches the other device. And on this device, it's made out of an acrylic or a plastic, so that we have the best possible 4G LTE connection. It doesn't change its durability or its strength, but it does allow us to have an LTE model, and it feels exactly the same to the touch. Now, in terms of how we are accomplishing this, there are actually 2 SIM card options. And we are adding eSIM technology, embedded SIM cards. So the device itself can be activated. It does not need to have a SIM card inserted, but it still can. You do also have a removable SIM option should you prefer. So if you're traveling and you have that global SIM in order to have data on the go while you're touring London, that's fine. Go ahead and put in your removable SIM card. But your company could also choose to activate the Surface itself. It prevents employees from taking the device away and taking the SIM card out and putting it in their own phone in order to get data. And it gives you greater control over the device, managing what they're able to do, paying for only the stuff and the data that you need, the stuff that's working on their work machine, which would be this device. So just some important things to keep in mind. Now, if we're going to build our very first Pro with LTE, we want to make sure it's ready for the future. This is really quite nice. Right now, the most you could ever get over a cellular connection is your 50 megabits per second, and I never get that in the United States. Most I've seen on my smartphone is probably about 18 megabits per second. Still pretty fast. The Surface Pro supports over a cellular connection, over LTE, up to 450 megabits per second. And let me tell you, the day I actually witnessed that over the air, I might shed a tear because that is wicked fast internet speeds. This is due to our new Qualcomm X16 modem that is packed right inside. It's also manageable because it is a full Windows device. It can be managed just like any other device in the company, and we're building in new functionality that allows them to manage things like the amount of data that they're using, their plan, when they're able to use it, and give us reporting as well as the company. Now, a couple of last things I want to mention here regarding the new LTE. The biggest one is battery life. Now, we say that the new Pro has 50% more battery than its previous generation. That is still true of the Surface Pro with LTE when you're connected to Wi-Fi. Now, when you're using a cellular network, you know from your smartphone that it does use more battery. At most, if you're having a cellular chip that's on and continually searching for service, if you forgot to, for example, put it in airplane mode when you went on a flight, you can experience this using up to 10% of your available battery, the LTE chip. Now, that is at worst case scenario. For the most part, if you're just sitting there connected to your cellular network doing basic tasks and using the internet, it's not going to really bear down the battery that much. And that's because we've added so much more battery to the new Pro. But again, that is something to keep in mind, and part of the reason why it took us until this generation to create the Surface Pro with LTE. We want to make sure we did it just right, and we feel we do with this device. If you're wondering where the SIM card slot is located, you can look underneath the kickstand, but not on this side. It's actually over here on this side, underneath the kickstand here, is where that is located. It's actually right next to the SD card slot. And so on the LTE model, you have your SD card, and then right above that is where your SIM card slot is located, right inside. And of course, because it is the beautiful new Pro, if you're connected to Wi-Fi or Ethernet, it behaves exactly like the Pro that everyone is loving right now, without any difference. It is just as powerful with all of the latest hardware features. No compromises at all. All right, now that pretty much wraps up things for this session. I just wanted to tell you what is the latest and what is new. As always, whenever there is anything new that we want to make you aware of, we will. My name is Jared. It's been great speaking with you. Whenever we have new releases, stay tuned to Surface Academy for the latest of information in training modules, just like these that are quick and digestible. And then also, we do have our monthly Surface partner-facing webinars. And so I'd love to have you join us for those. I, as well as my co-host Josh, also run those every single month, where we're telling you the latest, what's going on from Surface and your extended Microsoft family. Thank you guys for listening, and have an excellent day.
Okay, so that was the second video to be able to kind of give you guys an understanding. So the first video explained just the Surface Pro without the LTE, and then this one also, it provided the LTE. So when you're able to approach people and you can actually explain the platforms that we can provide, we won't be able to explain the pricing at the get-go. What we want to be able to do is get the product into the hands of them to be able to demo with the full wrapping application of the Office 365 and also the Azure Cloud. And so as we move forward, I'm going to go ahead and create another video after this one, so that way we can break everything up and go more into depth on the other products, for the Surface products, for their environment. But primarily, for myself, I do use the Surface Pro, on the go for myself in my business. It's very convenient. It's very it's easy to transport. It's easy to set up. I have everything wrapped into my Office 365, even as a business owner, because it just makes a lot more sense, And so, taking these videos and understanding, yes, you're going through the motions, but if you can understand the product, understand what you're selling, when you do go in front of other consumers or businesses, to be able to provide them the tools that knowledgeable based on what you can see here, and then you study the tools, and then what I would like to be able to do, so I can be able to provide an assessment for you to be able to take, see how you learn and what you absorb, and it will kind of give you a good idea of where you're at just through these training videos here. And so, like I said, this is just one of the few videos that I'm going to start creating. I'm going to go and do another one today to keep people involved and keep people on board, and then we'll go from there. So once again, I'd like to thank you guys, and hope you have a good day.